Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Property Talk underscore Ucacisa. This is my channel, my YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by another guest. I'm not going to introduce his name, he's going to introduce himself. Why I invited him, I want him to share his journey with us. How did he get into the property development space? How did he build his portfolio in the property space? So get yourself a pen and paper and yeah, enjoy the interview. Hi Mhlekazi.
Hello, hello,
Njani?
man. Hello, man. Sekunjani?
Ndiyaphila. Ungubani kho zazise?
My name is Wiseni Sopunwa,
Mm.
but I prefer to be called MD or the property MD. So, I was born and bred in Mount Frey, and I went to study at Worcester in East London.
Mm.
So, I did electrical engineering. So, yeah, I'm an engineering technician by profession and also an electrician. Oh, last but not least, property developer.
I developer. You need to be clear, Glenda, developer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
how did you find yourself to a property developer, development? Because I hear Guti, you were a electrician by profession. Usmane njani property develop?
Well,
Njani?
what happened is, oh, from my from my childhood,
Mm.
I've always loved properties. Like for as long as I can remember. Like whenever I visit these big cities, so I would sometimes drive past these nice suburbs only to be inspired. So I was born loving property. Yeah. Well, so what happened is after completing my diploma at Walters University, the one in for electrical engineering, I was then employed by this company. So I think it was just two years, only 2 years that I realized that I wanted to be in business.
Mm.
During that time, I had no knowledge of which business I was to get into.
Mm.
And then I had to think, and after thinking, I realized that, okay, first things first, let me check my strengths and utilize my skills within the experience that I've gained from this company. So I decided to open up a business which was doing a certificate of compliance,
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh, electrical wiring, tubing. So I started getting jobs like as a side hustle while I was still employed. So it was only after a few years that I first built my house. I built that house and then I stayed there for like 3 years.
So
After
sorry,
staying there, okay.
sorry to interrupt. So you built your house from scratch. You didn't go and get a bond. What was a Kailash?
No, I didn't. I
Mm.
actually built it from the profits from the side hustle.
Oh wow. Hey, I yes say that. Mm.
Yeah. So after staying in the house for 2 years, it was a very nice house with luxurious finishes. I decided that I can actually make money with this property, more money, like as an income. So I sold the house. I built in fact, I had already started with a 2-unit, which are each 2-bedroom. So I sold the house to just complete the duplex, the 2-bedroom duplex, while at the same time I had managed, even while I was still staying in that house, to purchase 2 other sites, vacant land. So I decided, okay, with the money that I got from selling that house, I just need to build 8 units now, cash again. So at the moment, I'm actually completing the 8 units. I would say I'm at 90%, and I'm 90% complete with the project. Whereas with the duplex, I've already have a tenant. So that's how I got it in summary.
So tell me,
And
what are the lessons have you learned here in the process of selling your house, your existing house, so that you can have capital to build the second units, and then now having another additional 8 units? Zeziphi lessons have you learned, like looking at the challenges that you had to overcome for you ukwazi ukwakha ezi zindlu? What lessons can you take out of this process?
I've learned a lot from building this both my former house as well as these units which I'm important. I think the first challenge I had, it was that I was still employed at the time of building the house which I sold. So when it comes to quality, certain things, because I was still at work and there was no COVID during the time, so I was not able to monitor it during the day. So it would only be after working hours that I would come and inspect if the work has been done correctly. I think that was the first challenge that I had. Number 2, to get an appropriate contractor or a good contractor. It is a challenge because a lot of people out there, they just want money, is the money, and then they go and they mess up everything. So I had to learn to know things, like to know how to use a spirit level to inspect it myself. That was the second one. Thirdly, I think just building, because now I'm into building and not just buying properties. It's all about buying a vacant land, build a structure, rent it out. So it was also about, monitoring, getting a plan approved. So it's just a lot. Building a house is challenging on its own. So yeah,
It's not a walk in the
those
park.
are
Lulag. It's
yeah,
not a
I
walk
tried
in
to
the
make the
park.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think those are the main challenges which I always face from time to time when building.
And then tell me again, Ogu, when I go back to the challenges, there are a few questions that I just need clarity on. Why
Okay.
did you decide, Uguti, rather you build a cash than to go source for a bond? Angomntu webond wena usithanda edibene namatyala. Udibananga namatyala.
Well, I think one of the main reasons I decided to build the cash, it was firstly, I think the 3 reasons. The first one, I learned not to love the debt because of the experience I have with one of the furniture retailers, furniture shops. I once bought in 2012 furniture for a house at home, and that I was constructed at home. When I went, okay, I I still don't remember how much was I paying. But after 6 months of paying plus minus 5,000 rand a month, when I went to clear the debt, only after 6 months, it was as though I haven't even started. The settlement amount was equal to the amount which I bought the items with. So basically, the 6 months that I was paying, it was just money down the drain. So that's when I started to have lack of appetite towards towards the debt. Over and above that, because now I was having this side hustle which was giving me money. So to use cash, to build cash, it wasn't just building cash. It was also about investing my money, which I was working for during my spare time. And also, I don't know, maybe I am someone who is very specific, especially when it comes to properties. Like, I want things my way. So buying an already built property wasn't gonna suit me well, honestly, because I don't know, maybe if I've got an OCD or whatever it is. So it was also,
you want your own taste when you want your kitchen
yes,
to
I want
be
my
inside.
own
You want certain furnitures.
exactly. So those are the three reasons. You see, the fear of debt, the the investment, as well as the one which I've just mentioned, that I want my own taste.
How long did it take you to build the capital for you to build your 2 units, your first 2 units?
I would say, okay, because now I would say plus minus 2 years.
Okay. And the first
Yes, plus,
property, you said most the first property now you bought it cash, you built it cash, ne?
yeah, I built it cash.
So how
So
long did it take
basically,
you?
okay, that one, I think it must have taken me more than 3 to 4 years, plus minus 3 to 4 years, if I remember correctly. Because I
Oh,
was just working and the money kept coming in and I had no expenses. So I was my lifestyle. I was financing my lifestyle using my salary, and then the money that was coming in from the side hustle, I wasn't using it at all. So every time, it was just to facilitate the business and make sure that I paid the employees and paid for the fuels and vehicles only. So I wasn't focusing on it in terms of myself. Didn't spoil myself with the money from the company. So yeah, it took me plus minus 3 to 4 years. Yeah, I'd say 3 to 4 years for the first
okay.
property.
So andimamela kahle, then it was important for you to be disciplined with the finances zakho and change
Yes,
lifestyle yakho because other people xa business, yo, there's money coming in, then you start wanting the good things in life, forgetting about the bigger
exactly.
goal, the bigger vision that you want to achieve. So it assisted you in a way, you need to be disciplined. Discipline was the key
Yes.
for you. And also saving. So le mali yakho wayiseva to, there was a separate investment la umzekelo wayigcina phantsi komatrasi. You had other investment that you can grow so that also ready to build. Then ke ngoku uyazi uba uyayisebenzisa. Okanye you had a normal
No,
saving account.
I actually didn't have any 32-day or 28-day notice. No, I was just having it in the account at which I was trading my company at. So it was just to put it in there. It wasn't growing. It was only growing because of the income that I was generating at the time. Because I don't know. I never thought of it because I only always believe in it. In fact, I would say it's just lack of knowledge, basically, because now that I know that sometimes you can put your money which you're not gonna use anytime soon, maybe on other, 7-day notice accounts, etc., for the money to actually generate money. But it was just lack of knowledge at the time. So I was just keeping the amount of money into my savings account, which was generating.
Oh, okay. Okay, makhe sike kule ndawo ye-challenges that you had to overcome. Ube ne-challenge ye-contractors that you must get the good contractor. So you do agree ukuthi xa ungena to the space of building your own house, you need first to have the knowledge how it works, the construction industry, so that you can be able to source the right contractors and be a
Exactly.
project manager, not outsource the skill, not outsource the role, trust the contractor completely and know nothing with how the pipe zihamba njani, and yonke loo nto leyo.
Yeah, it is a challenge, and I don't think anyone who uses it. The only thing that you can that can save you, it is actually to get an expensive contractor, because there are contractors who can do without the need for the project management, but those ones, they are very expensive. Like for instance, the one that I got, he was an NHBRC approved, but for some reason he didn't want us to register the company at NHBRC. I don't know why. I still don't know why even today. And also when it comes to payments, one of the problems we had was that we wanted to be ahead of the payment, whereas the work was behind. As a result, on the last on the last payment, we ended up fighting because yeah, it wasn't nice at all, because he said he wanted to pay the employees, so he wanted the money upfront before he can even do the final catch up. But because I've been working with him for a long time, so I kind of trusted him, and he didn't finish the work. So I had to hire other people again so that my work can finish. You see, those are the challenges which you need at least to be aware of. So, for instance, now that I've learned a lot from the business itself, I normally divide the work into 3 stages. I think I've seen one of the banks when it comes to building roads, they also use the same. If I have a contract with a person that I will only pay you when you are finished with the foundation. That is, you dig the trench, you build the wall, you backfill, you put in the slab. I will give you 1/3 of the actual amount. And then you build the walls up to the wall plates. I give you the second part of the amount. And then thirdly, I'll give you for the roofing. So that's how I operate. And then after that, I know that I'm done with you. I've got my own subcontractors now who do the plastering. I've got a guy who does the tiling, got a guy who does the ceiling. Actually, different people. And it actually helps a lot, because if you've got someone who will only come maybe and do a 10-day job and then they go, you are most likely you most like unlikely to experience challenges, because at least they haven't stayed long in your project. Because one of the challenges is to have someone who's been here for a very long time, so they end up wanting to do shortcuts.
So you must have actually built that relationship with the contractor so that you can trust ukwazi uba nisebenze ndibona uba nisebenza njani, how you going to unpack and build yonke le project. So,
Yeah.
Unaya, did you have a contract in place? Because now you are paying per phase of the work. Do
Well,
you do that? Can you something that you would advise people to do?
yes, it's actually something that I would advise people to do, even though in my case at the moment, since I'm usually there on site
Okay.
all the time, it's usually verbal and it has worked well. But I think I would have, in fact, I would appreciate or I would advise people to use maybe a written contract as to these are the conditions,
Mm.
uh, because it can get sour, trust me, because dealing with people and money, it can be chaotic.
Mm.
But with the guys that I'm currently working, we have got a strong bond, a very strong relationship. I was saying I would advise people to have written contracts because it can get sour and you might end up losing your money because these people sometimes the contractors can be very bully. So they would say, no, I've done the work, but I demand a certain portion which you might find unreasonable. You see,
Yeah.
because I've read, I think I've read one of in one of the Facebook pages where one person gave a deposit to a contractor. I think I'm not sure if it's about 20,000 before they can actually start the work.
Mm.
So I'd never do that now.
Yeah. And and then Kengoku, you think we are agreed to the myth that um, building it can be this it might be the same as buying an existing property, or it can actually be more expensive as compared to taking property that is already existing. Do you think that myth is correct based on your experience with?
I I don't simply because I record, like I've got right in front of me, I've got a book where I record all the expenses. So I don't agree personally.
Hmm.
It is expensive to build, but I think it's still cheaper than buying an already built house. For instance, the first house which I bought, I built with an X amount of money, and then when I sold it at 2 times the X of X amount of money.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't think in as much as building is expensive, but I still believe it is quite cheaper than building a house.
But buying a house,
I mean that buying.
buying an
Yes,
existing
buying.
house. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So the last question, second last question from my side. So, istrategy osebenzisileyo wena, like now that you said you have 8 plus 2 units, that is 10
Yeah,
units
yeah,
kwipokotho yakho. So, kule lezi two, build mos ixesha eliyi-one simultaneously ezi-two ixesha eliyi-one.
yeah,
So
because
they
they are semi-detached.
semi-detached. So they helped
Yeah.
you to build the 8 unit. So build it up 8 units. How what strategy did you use so that ukwazi build the eighth unit now that we are building? Ngesiphi strategy? I think I just put it like that question. What strategy did you use?
Okay, you see, what happened is when I first built that house, the one which I sold, most of the money from that house, it is the one that I've used to build 8 units. So
Oh,
here, the 2 units, which are 2 bedrooms, I had already built them using the profits from the business, the one that's the electrical company is. So I only did the final touch-ups using the money from the that I from the money that's from the money from that house. It
okay.
was only a small portion. And
Oh,
then most of the money from the house, it actually went straight to build the eight.
oh, okay. Lastly, what advice unganikeza abantu wena as an entrepreneur and into property? development space? Give advice on any company.
I think the advice that I can give people, obviously, it's based on my experience. The first one is, I still believe building cheaper than buying an already existing house. The second one, you've got to be involved in your project. If you are building, just be involved. What I mean involved is on a daily basis. When we finish with this interview, I'm going back to site just to ensure that the finishes are done perfectly. Just be involved. And another advice, there's quite a lot of them. Another one, it is because my intention at the moment is to rent the unit out, is to actually have a plan in place that is to manage your business, your property business, effectively. That is, have a lease agreement.
So you professionalize. We're professional. We're in squad.
Yeah.
You professionalize.
You see? So have a lease agreement. Do a tenant vetting so that you avoid the challenges which you might face in the future. Having to evict a person simply because they can't pay the rent. So at least do a proper background as to, is this person employed, bank statements, but that one I normally outsource it to an agent just to do the vetting, check, do the credit check and all that. So yeah, and then the last one, I would advise people to run their property business under a company, especially if you've got everything in place in terms of maybe like me, for instance, because you're actually saving on tax. When it comes to tax, it means you're only liable for 28% tax. In fact, next year it's going to be 7%. Whereas if you trade under your name, you might end up paying even more tax because it's actually added onto your on top of your salary. So you might end up paying more tax.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. Yo, okay. Hi, Mandukia, it was nice. Thank you so much for the question you will set aside to have this conversation with me. Definitely, I believe that Abantu that are interested from scratch and building their own units of their house, I think they will learn something out of the story. So yeah, from my side, guys, this is it. Thank you very much. We say, did I say it right?
Yeah, correctly.
I know. At least this time I got it right. It was good. Guys. Both from Umtata. I wish I can be there in Umtata just to come and see my family, my mother and my father. What was Umtata? York Road. All the best. Good businesses out and your property. I can't wait to see it on the lap when I'm there for holidays. Hey, injani units zakho, and I'm hoping that we're gonna get tenants for the upcoming development as is ayekuwe. And yeah,
I'm also hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully there. Okay. Okay. All the best, Kede. Keep well, guys. Thank you for watching, and see you again for another YouTube video. Keep well. God bless. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.